Hello, my name is Samantha White. Welcome to ProUp Class Professional Hair Color Education. Everything you need to know about hair color, you will be learning here. It's my utmost desire that you find the next 30-45 minutes extremely impactful in your journey on becoming a professional, natural, and/or extension hair coloring professional. Let's get started. Today, we're going to be discussing color wheel. Remember, hair coloring is a long process, especially professional hair coloring. So you want to take it one day at a time, one step at a time. Don't be too fast so you don't damage hairs or acquire losses for yourself. Just take it one day at a time. Today, I will be taking you from the scratch of all. To learn hair coloring, the first thing you need to know is your color wheel. Hair color wheels. What are hair color wheels? In my own word, I like to describe it the way I understand it. Color wheels can be called circular graphical representation of all underlying colors in your hair extension or your natural hair, from black all the way to blonde. Now that might be confusing, so I went ahead to check what Google explained color wheel to be. I didn't bother putting hair color wheel because I realized color wheel is not for just people that color hair, but a lot of people use it. Painter, artists, even people that bake cakes, they use color wheels to mix and create colors. So I just checked Google what the definition of color wheels is, and Google says color wheel is a illustrative organization of color hues in a circle, showing the relationship between secondary, primary, and tertiary colors. Now that takes us straight into primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. What are primary colors? Primary colors are basic colors. They are colors that they occur naturally. They are natural existing colors. You can't mix to create primary colors. You cannot remove from them. And there are just three of them, and that's yellow, red, and blue. Yeah. And secondary colors are when you mix two primary colors together, you create a secondary color. What are tertiary colors? Tertiary colors are one primary, one secondary, or more can create tertiary colors. Mixture of all of these colors give us all the other shades we have in this life. Every shade you see in this life has a certain proportion of yellow, a certain proportion of red, a certain proportion of blue mixed together. Some of it has just red and blue, some has just yellow and red, but every single color you find on earth has these three colors. Now, how would that apply to coloring? Let me make this into a circle for you. When you, as a hair colorist, color wheel, this is what it looks like for you. At the top, you have yellow. The lightest color is yellow. So at the top, we have yellow. Okay, let me put this down here. At the top, we have yellow. Then we have blue. And we have red. I'm going to form a circle around this. Mixture of yellow, blue, and red will give you brown. And that's basically most of our natural hair color, brown, because it has all our natural hair colors have yellow, blue, red, and so our natural hair color is brown. Now let's go to secondary colors. A combination of blue and red will give us violet. We put violet right in the middle of blue and red, because when you mix blue and red together, you get violet. When you mix red and yellow together, you get orange. You get orange. When you mix yellow and blue together, it gives you green. Be patient. Don't think how is this going to help me as a colorist. Just be patient. We are heading there. You'll understand. Okay, now tertiary colors, combination of both primary and secondary color. So your primary color here is blue, your secondary color here is violet. A combination of blue and violet will give you blue violet. A combination of red and violet will give you red violet. A combination of red and orange will give you red orange. A combination of yellow and orange will give you yellow orange. A combination of yellow and green will give you yellow green. A combination of blue and green will give you blue green. Notice how I put the primary color first, because those are the basic colors. They are the colors that carries the base, that carries the color. So you cannot say violet blue or orange red or orange yellow or green yellow. I'm sure you get the point. You can't say that. So this is a color. This is a color wheel from the darkest shade all the way to the lightest shade. Okay, for our first episode 1, 2, and 3, I would not be addressing yellow green, green, and blue green, basically because this has to do with neutralization, toning, and advanced hair coloring purposes. I'm going to be talking about this most for the first 3 episodes, because this is what you need to know to get started as a hair colorist. If you're just starting or you want to upgrade or you're used to making mistakes, you need to understand these basics before we move on. Now let's go back to my previous definition of color wheel. I said color wheel is a circular graphic representation of all underlying colors present in the hair extension from darkest all the way to lightest. Darkest being your black hair and lightest being your blonde hair. Now, underlying colors. What are underlying colors? Let me say underlying pigments. What are underlying pigments? Underlying pigments are natural occurring pigments. Natural occurring pigments, I mean your primary, your secondary, your tertiary colors. Your color wheel is a circular graphical representation of all underlying pigments. And underlying pigments are all natural colors that come together to form the whatever color of weave that you might have. So for example, you have this black weave. Someone who doesn't know anything about coloring would say, oh, that's black, that's blonde. But as a hair colorist looking at this hair, I know there are so many colors inside of this hair. There's blue, there's yellow, there's red, there's violet, there's facial pink. There's so many shades inside of this black hair. When I look at this hair, I see not so much. A lot of the shades has gone out for me to be able to have this shade. Let me give you a little bit of history before I proceed. Your natural hair color, everybody, whether you're black, you're white, you're purple, your natural hair color is white. The reason why your hair looks black, your auntie's hair looks brown, another guy's hair looks red, is because of the quantity of melanin present in the hair. There are just 2 melanins in your hair. You have eumelanin and pheomelanin. Now, the quantity of melanin, whether it's the eumelanin or the pheomelanin present in your hair, will determine what shade of hair you end up having. So if you have a lot of eumelanin, for example, you will have super black hair. That means you have so much eumelanin in it. But if you have pheomelanin, you have a lot of red. Have you seen those Spanish Latina movies? Those Telemundo people, those Spanish movies, yeah, Mexican movies, they have red hair. They have a lot of red in their hair. They have a lot of pheomelanin. When you begin to grow old and your hair begins to look gray, begins to look white, you are losing melanin. So the more melanin you lose, the lighter your hair becomes. So when I look at my table from the darkest shade all the way to the lightest shade, I know there's loss of natural occurring pigments, and for hair we call that melanin. These pigments are exactly what I've written on the board: yellow, blue, red, in different proportions. Now, how do I take my hair extension from black all the way to the lightest blonde? I need to apply a hydrogen peroxide plus an alkali to be able to break through my cuticles and begin to extract my natural pigment. The more natural pigment you extract from your hair, the lighter your hair will look. Let's not jump. Let me take you through hair structure, lighteners, lightening, and their relationships. By the time I'm done explaining that, we'll dive back here to explain to you how this causes your hair to lift from black all the way to blonde. For hair, I'm not a biologist, but this is all you need to know about your hair structure as far as I'm concerned. This is what your hair structure looks like. I'm going to draw just 3 lines here. And here are your cuticles. Here are your cuticles. In here is your cortex. Your cuticles. Your cuticles and your medulla, obviously, which is very necessary. It's a cell, so obviously this has to be there, but that's not my business. This is what we're talking about. And your cuticles are the covering for your hair. You see really nice black hair, all shiny and looking nice. Your cuticles are the one covering your hair, giving it that nice feel. Your cuticles, this is where all your natural pigment exists. Now, as a hair colorist, this is our target. This is my target. This is where I'm heading to. The minute a customer walks in with whatever shade of hair she has, I'm interested in what's embedded in here. When she's asking for red or blue or brown, that's a second topic for me. I'm looking at the hair and I'm wondering what's in her cortex, what's existing in here. So I know what product to use, how much time I'm going to be spending on the person's hair, what methods to use. This information is the most important for a colorist. This is where all your colors are. This is where all your natural pigments are. Now, to break through this cuticle, what happens when you when you apply a lightener on a hair extension? Your lightener breaks through your cuticle. Depending on what kind of lightener, we'll go to types of lighteners and how they affect your cuticles. But for now, you're just beginning. Just be aware of what happens when you break your cuticles. Your lighteners will separate your cuticles, giving your mixture access into your cortex. When they come into your cortex, where you have your blue, you have your yellow, you have your red, and all the other variations, your lightener comes in and begins to displace your colors one after the other. So when it displaces blue, for example, blue is gone, your hair looks lighter. It displaces more blue, there's no more blue in the more blue, you have violet almost showing, you have your blue violet. Once all the blue is gone, there's no more blue, all you can see in your hair is violet. Now, the minute your hair loses all the blue, the only available natural pigment is violet, your hair begins to appear lighter. Let's talk about lighteners before we get back. Lighteners, what are lighteners? Lighteners are products that contains alkali. You have to mix them with your hydrogen peroxide to be able to break through your cuticles. Those are hydrogen peroxide. In hair coloring, we call them developers. Developers, what are developers? Developers are products that contain H2O, which is water, plus H2O2. There are different volumes of developer. You have your 10, 20, 30, and 40 volume developers. What does the different volumes of developer represent? The volume of your developer represents the percentage of hydrogen peroxide present in the bottle. So if your developer bottle shows 20 volume, it's telling you the percentage of hydrogen peroxide present in the bottle. So if I have a 10 volume developer, it's telling me that it has 3% hydrogen peroxide. If I have 20 volume developer, it has 6% hydrogen peroxide. 30 volume has 9% hydrogen peroxide. 40 volume has 12% hydrogen peroxide. The most important component or content of your developer is your hydrogen peroxide, because it's your hydrogen peroxide that mixes up with the alkali present in your lightener to break through your cuticle. So you cannot just take hydrogen peroxide and pour on your hair and expect it to lift. You cannot just take hydrogen peroxide and pour it in your hair and expect it to lift. You need to add it to an alkali. An alkali is present in your lighteners. Types of lighteners, there are different types of lighteners, but mostly we are interested in our powder lighteners and cream lighteners. there are different kind of lighteners, there are different types of lighteners, but as a colorist you would mostly use cream lighteners and powder lighteners in all of the lifts or colors you will be doing. What's the difference between cream lighteners and powder lighteners? They both contain alkali that open, but I prefer cream lighteners because they kind of help me protect the hair extension or the client's hair I'm working on. Cream lighteners contain conditioning agents, they contain things like coconut oil. So during my lifts, I don't have drying out. So while I'm breaking the cuticles and taking out all the colors in it, I'm not damaging the hair at a fast pace. It does not mean that powder lighteners damage your hair completely. A lot of times, especially here in Nigeria, the colors you're given to achieve colors like this, colors like wine, colors like blue, you need to use your powder lighteners because everybody's coming in with to you with completely black hair. So your powder lighteners might be your first go-to option to completely take out as much colors that naturally exist on the hair, so you can apply whatever shade your customer is asking for. So powder lighteners drying out and all of those, but they give really fast lifts. Let's compare our powder lighteners and our developers and the effects they have on hair. That's lightening. How much lightening you're going to get on your hair? When I took courses on hair coloring, I was told that a 10% developer will give you deposition, 20% will give you 2-level lift, 30 will give you 3, 4. But while I continued to work on different hairs, I realized the most important factor in your lightening process are your lighteners. How strong is your lightener? The strength of your lightener, different products, different manufacturers, and how strong and the strength of their lighteners. So the strength of your lightening product or your lightening agent will determine how much lift you will get. When I say lift, I mean going from really black hair that has a lot of blue in it all the way to a really light brown goldish hair that has a lot of orange in it. The quantity of lift you will get strongly depends on the strength of your lightener. So for me to you, since I'm teaching you now like someone taught me, I will teach you now that your 10% developer will give you just deposition. That was always correct. You get 0 lift from your 10% developer, but your 20 on the other hand will give you at least 2-level lifts. 2-level lifts. You'll be wondering what are levels. We will jump right into that once I'm sure you understand what your developers do. Let me say it this way. Your developers will give you 2 stages of lightening. So if I applied my lightener on a black hair like this, and I'm using a 20% developer, it will give me at least 2 levels of my lightening process. So you take my hair from this to at least this shade. It might get lighter to this shade, completely depending on the lightening brand, lightening product I choose to use. Now that's the advantage of constantly watching my videos. You will learn the right products or right company, right brands to use to achieve maximum safe lift on your hair extension and your natural hair. So 30 volume, not percent. I'm sorry about that. Volume. 30 volume will give you at least 3-level lifts. At least 3-level lifts. 40 will give at least 4. There's 50 volume. The reason why I don't talk about 50 volume because that's like hair destroyer. You just put your lightener plus your 50 volume developer and boom, your hair is straight to white. I've seen it once. I was so curious. I wanted to try it out and I didn't like the results. It did not damage my hair because I was really consciously watching it because I already knew the effect of a 40 volume, how harsh a 40 volume is, that I was so conscious of what my results from 50 volume would be. When I was done, as much as I use really good products to try to cover up the cuticles of my hair to look smooth and clean, I still had that really dry, breaky hair at the end of the day. So your maximum as a professional hair colorist should be 40 volume. If you want to play safe, stick with 30. It will give you three level lifts. So if your client walks in with this shade of hair, it will take you all the way to at least this shade. Okay, so let me explain. Why didn't I just come in here and tell you mix your developer either in 10, 20, 30, 40 volume with your lightener, whether you choose your powder lightener, your cream lightener, apply it on your hair, and boom, you will go from black hair to gold hair. Why didn't I give you just that information? Why did I start from the beginning to begin to explain to you blue, violet, red, and all of those? You must have been in one of these situations. If you have not colored before, you don't understand. But if you have colored a few times and you're watching this video, or you found this video important for you to watch, it means you have experienced either of these. Either you colored a particular hair red, for example, it was super beautiful, and the client, you send it out to a client and she loved it, and her friend says, please, I really like that hair, could you help me color my hair this same shade? And she brings the hair to you, and you do the same process, the same product, but different results. I know you know what I'm talking about. Or someone walks in and say, I want this shade of hair, and then you're done coloring, the right process, the right product, and you get this shade of hair. Or someone walks in and the person has black hair, and somewhere in your mind, and the person wants brown, and you begin to apply lighteners on the hair. Instead of it to go from black to regular brown, you begin to see colors like violets underneath. You begin to see colors like red underneath, and you're wondering, like, why am I seeing these colors? Why is it not going from black straight up to brown like my teacher had told me? It's because every hair color you see out there already have natural existing pigments inside of it. If you want to put this to our natural lives, we would say the spiritual controls the physical. So except you have dealt with the spiritual, you cannot come to the physical to deal with things of the physical. The same thing with your hair extensions. Let's call this your spiritual. So if you don't have an idea of how your color wheel would make or break your results, you would constantly fall prey to wrong results. So now your customer that walks in with natural black hair that has a lot of blue in it and asks you that she wants to achieve red, for example, you go ahead and you buy a cream lightener that says I would give you red as your result. Red is written on the can of the cream lightener, and you apply it on your black hair. You apply it on your black hair with a 30 volume. 30 volume will only give you at least 3 level lifts, That's from blue to blue violet, and it will stop here, red violet. Now your customer wants red, like really red hair extension. This is going to be wine, like really dark wine. And then you're asking yourself, what did I do wrong? And most cream lighteners are permanent colors. Once you are done, there's no going back. Next thing you have to do is pay for the hair, because you had no idea that there was still a lot of violet in your hair extension. Now, for a customer that walks in with a very dark hair and needs to achieve bright red, if I was using a cream lightener that says they would give me red, my first instinct, I'll have two options. Either I pre-lift my hair. What do I mean by pre-lift? I use my powder lightener and my hydrogen peroxide, break through my cuticles, and do like a 2-level lift. So I take my hair from 1, 2, and stop somewhere here. And then I'll use my cream lightener, mixing with my 20% developer to get that really smooth, neat lift, apply it on my hair, and I'll have a really bright red hair. That's one really reasonable option. Or number 2, I won't even bother using cream lighteners at all. I'll get my color pop, pre-lift my hair with a 30% developer to take me straight up to red undertone, and I'll apply my red on it. And the final result will be super red, and everybody will be happy. I'll get my money and buy. So sincerely, your undertones for your hair is like the basic information you need to have before you proceed into any other topic as regards hair coloring. Now let's go into color wheels. So let's go into color wheel. But before we go into color wheel, I want to be sure we are on the same page as regards everything that has to do with hair structure, lightening, lighteners, color wheel, and general first stage of information you need before you begin to lift your hair. I'll go ahead and list everything one after the other. I'm sure we're on the same page, and then I'll gradually dive you into your hair color levels. Okay, so first of all we draw a color wheel, and we draw a color wheel. I'm sure we are okay with that. We talked about our hair structure. We talked about our hair structure. We talked about lighteners. We talked about hydrogen peroxide, H2O2 plus H2O, which most people call developers, and the relationship lightening, obviously, and our lightening process. I'm going to go ahead and draw the color wheel again. Hopefully we are on the same page as regards this. If you have any questions, remember to leave it in the comment section. I will respond to your questions or whatever confusion you have regarding either of these topics that we have discussed. If you want a place where you can comfortably discuss your confusion or any of those sorts, simply send us a message on WhatsApp, pay, and would add you to our Facebook color group, where you can meet people who have gone much ahead of you or who are just getting started, so you can rub minds and grow. Remember, for every profession you find yourself in this life, practice makes perfect. What's going to make you different from every other person claiming to be a hair colorist in Nigeria is the fact that you never get a color wrong. Because every color you see, you already know what's underneath it. You know what to get rid of and what to keep. There's something I learned while I was taking my hair color class. It's called keep it or lose it. And this has to do with your hair color wheel. For every color you see, you understand how the natural pigments that exist under the color, and you know whether you want to keep the colors or you want to lose it. This information I'll be giving you when we start talking about hair color levels. But I'm going to give you an introduction to hair color levels right now, and in our next episode we'll break down hair color levels, and I'll teach you how to on your own create your hair color level tables, how to keep your undertones or how to lose it when you do not need it. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this all over again just to introduce you to hair color levels. And red. Between each of these colors you have your green, violet, orange. A combination of blue and violet, like we've said before, give you blue violet, red orange, yellow orange, green, blue green, and yellow green. Now, if the darkest shade of hair that possibly can exist is my level 1, blue would be level 1, because any black hair you see has high content of blue, and any really blonde hair you see has high content of yellow. And whatever hair you have seen that's turned to white does not have melanin at all. Again, all the melanin is gone. So the lighter shade of hair, which is blonde, has the underlying pigment is yellow. The underlying pigment for the darker shade of hair you have is blue. It means from here all the way, if blue is level 1 and yellow is level 9, it means all the other shades between blue and yellow are other numbers. So this is level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, level 7, level 8, and yellow is level 9. So in my next episode, I'm going to be giving you details on color levels, how to create your own color levels, the effects they have in your coloring process, or in your lightening process, or in your process of achieving blondes or whatever shade you want to achieve. Remember, if you have any question as regard color wheels, hair structure, lightening, developers, and lighteners, or the relationship between them, or you have any confusions on the information I have given right now, ask your questions on the comment section. I will reply. If you want a more one-on-one conversation, just send us a WhatsApp message to join our Facebook group. I hope this information it's useful to you in your process of becoming a professional hair colorist. I'll see you in the next episode, or I look forward to seeing the next episode. Take care and bye.